What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. We are on the all-time history index right now, looking at this on a daily basis. We haven't really moved too much, have we? We did just recently see some new highs of the day, right, in the past hour or so, breaking above 88K here. Hey, that's nice. Looking at this on a volume perspective, we're getting volume building as we're building higher. This is exactly what you want to see. Getting overbought, bouncing off the overbought zone, getting volume to follow through. This is exactly what you want to see, man. We've got an hour and 5 minutes left. Let's just hope that this 4-hour candle doesn't reverse here, because if it does, it's not the end of the world. If it does reverse here, and I don't think that it will, but if it does, we likely would see prices that come back down into this lower 80K area. And we're looking to not do that. Really, we're looking to pierce through 90K, close today or any day above 88K, and we validate this as a low, and that would just be a very powerful signal here. So I don't expect it to be easy, but I do expect it to happen inevitably. We have 9 hours and 5 minutes left in the day. Let's see, today's goal, you guys, is to close above $88,000. The reason why that's a big deal, in my opinion, is that would validate this as a low. Now, you're going to see on X.com, on YouTube, on whatever it is that you're watching, there's a bunch of different targets, a bunch of different prices as to where we would validate this as a low. I think most people would say it's probably at a higher price, maybe at this price here, 94K, maybe at this price here at about 96K. You know, these areas make sense. If we take the overall all-time high to the low that we just saw back on April 7th here, if we see this, right, high to low, the golden ratio is right there at 94K. So there's reasons to include this as the line to break to validate this as a low. But I'm a bit preemptive, and I like to think forward looking, right? So if we're looking at this for what it is, this is a consolidation phase at the bottom here, right? We're at the base here. We're in this consolidation phase right now. We can't get above this, right? This overall area here is kind of like a horizontal channel. You had a fake out below, but really we've just been in this box here since the beginning of March, right? When we break above this box, my question to you is, are we going to, as soon as we break out, go lower? No. If we're breaking out, we're probably going to go to the next areas of resistance, which are all the way up here. So going to the areas that you would expect on a breakout of this consolidation phase, which are also the areas that you're looking for to validate this as a low. Therefore, ergo, breaking above this area, breaking above $88,000 on a daily closing basis will, in fact, validate this as a low, because that would also imply that we're going to these target areas, which are higher, which some people might say are what we need to validate this as a low. Whether I'm right, whether they're right, I think we're all going to be proven right. Who cares anyways, right? We're going to move up. I think we're in the process right now of a move that's going to take us to $94.4 to $97,000 over the coming days, sometime this week, and potentially even higher. It's very possible that if we look at this again from a fib perspective, it's very possible that everybody in crypto is paying attention to this golden ratio area, this 94K area here, whether they have it drawn with fibs or with logarithmic regression in there, or not regression, sorry, log scale, whether it's on log scale or it's on the linear scale, it'd be a 96,000 price or a $94,000 price. Either way, this area is going to be paid attention to, and I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we saw some volatility there. Maybe we see a rapid rejection down to the 0.5 or something like that, or even below the 0.5. But what I do expect is that we push through it rather quickly. I'm not saying that we can't find resistance here. We can, but I think the resistance would be so short-lived that we would immediately grow afterwards, or we might just continue to push through inevitably and see prices that are at 100,000, 104,000 and beyond in a very, very, very short amount of time. So ultimately, we're looking for 111K by the end of this month, if not early May. Yes, you heard me correctly. 111K by the end of this month. We have about 9 days left in the month right now. 9 days and 9 hours left. That is the call. That's the call we're sticking with. And as we're moving up here on the 21st, this is giving me a lot of hopes. I want to see what we do over the next few days. If we don't move up in a timely fashion, if it is like the end of the week and we're only here at 94K, I think it's very appropriate to not expect 111K anymore, at least by the end of the month. I do believe ultimately we're on our way to 111K. I don't know why 111 is a hard number for me to say. 111K. We're going up to that area and beyond sometime in May. I very much do believe that we will be at 120K to 140K. Those ones are much easier to say than 111. 120 to $140,000 by the end of May. That's the expectation. 150 to 180K by the end of June. That's the expectation. We're on this massive run all the way up, you guys. If we're looking at this here on the 4-hour time frame, 4-hour RSI is just bullish as hell. I love it whenever you get overbought and you bounce off the overbought. So and you get a bullish engulfing candle with added volume. This is phenomenal, you guys. 1 hour time frame here, also bullish as hell. You came down out of the overbought zone, bounced right at the, not at the 60, but pretty damn close. Pretty damn close to the 60 there. Bounced off of that. You're getting some follow through right now. This looks like the real deal, man. It really does. 15-minute time frame, also pushing through a little bit. Looking like we're not done here. We're definitely going to keep falling through. I bet by the time that most of you guys watch this video, we'll be up at, man, we might be up at 90K by the time most of you guys watch this video. Hit that like button. Leave it in the comments. Say we did it if we're above 90K by the time you watch this video, whoever you are. But yeah, ultimately, guys, just in the midst of all these words, man, we are consolidating here. Right below, right in this range here. Once we break out of this, we're going to the next phase, the next area, which at a bare minimum, I would think would be 94K, but ultimately we're on a path that's much higher to new all-time highs. Let's look at this on a monthly basis here. We'll look at some long-term stuff, and then we'll wrap this video up, okay? So I very much believe that this trend in the long-term RSI and the monthly RSI here, if we're looking at this trend line here, I believe that this trend is going to be respected, okay? You can see that every single cycle, we've come up and we've found resistance right at this line here, this trend line here, trying to draw a line of best fit there. And we've had 2 peaks. 2 peaks here, 2 peaks here, 2 peaks here, 1 peak, 2 peaks here, right? This last cycle was a weak cycle, and I think we can observe that in the RSI, but there were still 2 peaks. That second peak, if you don't believe me, that second peak correlated directly with the all-time high itself. So I very much would call that a peak. It's just a dramatically lower peak. It's not the same kind of reactions that we've seen here. Whenever it comes time for this next move that we're going to see by the end of June, I fully expect that the RSI will interact with this line. We will get a reading above the 90, and that's how we know that it's probably time to get out, right? It's probably, and not time to get out as in it's like the end of the cycle. I just mean your short-term positions, anything that you're trading, anything that you're looking to move around or make some moves with, before the end of the cycle. It's probably time to get out, and I think that we'll see this by the end of June. So we're going to move up at a very, very rapid pace, right? Something like this. We're going to be up there by the end of June. That's the expectation, right? We've seen these kind of rapid movements before in the RSI in these exact readings here, so we can see it again, and we probably will see it again. And then June, again, being the idea. We've oftentimes, every single time, actually had 2 peaks, even if it is a slightly or a dramatically lower peak here. The expectation would be that we kind of consolidate maybe for a month or two, maybe for a month or two here, and then we begin to grow. So June, July, August, whatever, we might see some pullbacks, a little bit of consolidation, but inevitably we would see another peak here that goes up. Ooh, you know what? I just thought about that kind of throws a wrench in my 6 green months in a row for the end of this cycle. It actually throws a wrench in that, because if we're going to get 2 peaks, that would mean that we have to see 1 red month, at least 1 red month, because you can't move down if it's a green month. That'll be interesting to see. We're going to do one of 2 things. We're either going to do what we've done every single cycle here. If you know what I'm talking about, cool. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's fine. Don't worry about it. We're either going to do exactly what we've seen here, which would imply that we do have at least 1 more red month left in this cycle, if not 2 red months left in this cycle. And then we will come back up for our second peak here, and that'll be our all-time high peak right there. Or we're going to do something we've never done before, which is break through this trend line. And that would be insane, because, I mean, man, we're already at a 92. Like, how much higher are we going to go? And if we break through this trend line, if we just continue to grow until the end of the cycle, like, we're going to see some higher readings in the RSI than what we've seen over the last 2 cycles. That would be nuts. So something's got to give. Either my 6 months of green in a row is going to be inaccurate, and we're going to see a first in Bitcoin's history where we see more than 3 red months in the last year of its bull cycle, or we're going to see a first in Bitcoin's history where we actually break above this trend line here. I don't know. Kind of curious, but I've got nothing else to say. I feel like this last little bit might have seemed like hocus pocus to some people, but it's actually kind of interesting to me. But that's all I got to say. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. All in all that last part was saying is that we've got more to go. Regardless of my 6 green month theory or not, we are clearly overbought, bouncing off the 60, looking to go to new relative highs in the RSI. I wonder where we're going to go. We're going to interact at this trend line here and probably go above the 90 read by the end of June. That's the expectation. Okay, take care, guys. Bye-bye.